certain that many of you are on the Jackpot Trail. How many people are on the Jackpot Trail? Just don't worry. See, we're in a global community. The world is global now. Very soon, we'll even be talking about knocking down borders and there will be no boundaries anymore. There is nothing bad about being on the Jackpot Trail. But for as long as you are in this country, you have to recognize that the world is now global. There are many people who are in Nigeria today, and they're working for Google, they're working for Microsoft, and they live here. So don't be constrained in your thinking that your opportunity to progress in life only lies when you cross the border of Nigeria. The world has moved beyond that. In fact, there are many companies in the world today that they render service to clients all over the world, but they're only based in one particular country. So if you look in the tech industry, let me even use an example that will resonate with a lot of us that are here. In the telecoms industry, the companies that provide customer service, to billions of customers across the world, many of them are sited in India. Tech companies like MTN are also thinking of bringing, their own customer service center to a place like Nigeria where they will, serve the rest of the world or the rest of Africa. So you need to recognize that being progressive and thriving in this world that we are in today is not solely dependent on whether you are in Nigeria or not. You have to think global. Very consistent with the theme of this gathering, harnessing the opportunities that exist with the global consciousness. So to set the stage, I'm going to speak a little bit about myself, maybe for 5 minutes. I hope I can do that. I think, I don't know where you guys got most of the things that you said about me, but these days, information is all over the internet anyway, so you can pick up stuff about people. But there are some things that maybe you wouldn't find on the internet about individuals. So I want to speak about myself, growing up, and I'm following the guidelines being provided to me by the organizers. So how did it all begin? So I went to Ogun State University, first and foremost, and I'm proud to say that. A lot of people will think about, when you talk about universities in Nigeria, you think, oh, the prestigious ones are the federal universities. I went to Ogun State University. I'm very, very proud to say that. I think my foundation was cemented in that, what I went through in that institution. And regardless of the institution that you guys are part of today, it is what you make of it that is going to matter. It doesn't matter if you are sent to an Ivy League institution anywhere in the world and you do not apply yourself, you are not diligent in your work, you do not focus, it is not likely that you are going to amount to much. But wherever you are, you can make the most of the opportunities that are presented to you. So after I left school, Ogun State University, went to the law school in 1992, and in those days, companies will come to the NYSC camp to come and literally just look for people. Nigeria was still kind of okay there in 1992. Some of us were not born there. Many of us were not born there. And I remember I did some tests of, banks. We were all fixated about working in banks and oil industry back then. There's a bank that is called Fountain Trust Merchant Bank and another one, Nigerian American Merchant Bank, NAMBO. I passed for both of them, so I had a choice of saying, which one am I going to? Remember, I'm a lawyer, I didn't study banking. So I know that was Nigerian American Merchant Bank, I only Mama Royal was American. So I chose to go to NAMBO. I was posted to NAMBO, but I had done my law office attachment in a law firm called Owutu and And NAMBO offices were very close to Owutu offices back then. So one day, after I started serving, I just went to the place to say hello to the partners there. And they said, how can you be serving in Lagos and you're not working with us? And they insisted that I should go and change my posting from the bank to the law firm. It sounded like, are you okay? A lot of people were trying to get into the banks. You go there and then you say you want to come out. Anyway, I ended up in Owutu, and that's where I think professionally my foundation was cemented, and to the glory of God, I had the opportunity of mentorship by a distinguished gentleman called Bankole Olumide SAN of blessed memory. You can Google him. In fact, I encourage you to Google him because I think his life, his achievements will inspire a lot of you guys that are in the room. Then, I spent about 10 years in Aluko and Iboli, and then I was seconded to go and represent the firm in the offices of MTN. MTN then was a big thing in the country. I spent another 13 years or so in MTN, and then I left MTN to join Diageo. Diageo is the biggest premium drinks company in the world, and Diageo is the majority shareholder of Guinness Nigeria PLC. So right now I work in Guinness Nigeria as a corporate relations director, and also I have responsibility for managing the board of the company as the company secretary. My first experience with transitions, I think I'm a child of grace. So I will not kid you guys, I have never applied for a job in my life. Never. Every time that, yes, you can take another look. Every job that I have done or that I've been part of, I have been invited to come and take it. I told you guys about the experience with Aluko and everybody. It was the partners that said, no, you must come. And then when I was going to MTN, I was seconded there. In fact, I resisted it because I was enjoying legal practice. I loved legal practice. In those days, I usually will have like 2 cases, sometimes 3 cases across Lagos. And I would jump from Federal High Court in Ikoyi to Ikeja High Court, and I was enjoying it, but my firm needed someone to go and represent the firm in MTN, and I was asked to go. So I didn't apply for the MTN job. Then Diageo came calling. I was sitting down my own JJ, and they said, look, come and join us. So I've never applied for any job in my life, but that doesn't mean that I have never worked for the things that God has given me the opportunity of being exposed to. So please, I encourage every single one of you here. Diligence is extremely important. The Bible even encourages us that if you see a man that is diligent in his work, what will he do? Let's not kid ourselves. We are now in this age where everybody wants to get rich quick. Everybody wants to make money, but people are not, in our own generation, even as things were not, as great as they used to be before us, you could still see a hint of hard work. But these days, people are just interested in success, and they don't really care, how quickly or how that success comes about. So I'm encouraging you. You have to be diligent in whatever it is that you have chosen to do. The transitions that I had between the jobs that I did were often, should I say, circumstantial. My secondment to MTN, I didn't ask for it. In fact, I was loving legal practice so much that in my days in MTN, when I'm on vacation, I would just put on my wig and gown and go and sit down in court because I was missing that side of my life. And I remember judges like Justice Phillips who say, I haven't seen you in this court for so long, But that's actually, even as I stand here before you now, I still have my complete wig and gown intact. So my plan is to go back to practice when I'm done with this, my current tour of duty. What are the lessons that I have learned in the course of the development of my career? And by the way, my career is still developing, so I'm not even where I think I want to be yet. I've learned that working hard is extremely important. I've learned that being curious, being inquisitive, and seeking for knowledge is important. And I am not talking about, Instagram and TikTok and what are the other things that you guys, a lot of young people indulge in these days. I'm talking about being deliberate about the things that will develop you, that will empower you. Going after those things that will mean you are expanding the frontiers of your versatility, regardless of what it is that you are doing. You have to be deliberate about those things. Then, there's a guideline here around, what it is that about negotiations. I don't know whether that refers to if you are transitioning from one job to another, how you negotiate, a good deal for yourself. Maybe in the course of the question and answer session, we will get in a bit more detail about that. Then, when did I know that it was time to move from one job to another? And again, I have to be fully declared to you. I actually, I've had that kind of life that God has been guiding me. And the transitions that I've had between, in my career have most often been guided. However, whatever it is that you are doing, when your career actually now fully takes off, you have to be able to know that you have come to the point where you know enough about what you are doing, because what you already know is part of you. No one can take it away from you. And then you are seeking knowledge in other areas. What motivated me and what were the challenges that I went through? I had the opportunity of being mentored in the early stage of my career, and I will encourage many of us who are in the room, seek for people who you look up to, the things that you would like to be or aspire to be, people who are already reputed in those areas. Seek for them and seek for opportunities to interact with them. But you have to come across as being serious-minded. If you go on LinkedIn, I have so many people who are asking me for connections. The first thing I do is I check your profile, and there are many people that I've connected with on LinkedIn that I actually don't know or I've never met. So for me, that's not a criteria. But you have to demonstrate that you yourself, you are willing or you are a serious-minded person. So I don't know how many of us in this room know of and use platforms such as LinkedIn and use them the way they ought to be used. The amount of time that all of us now spend on social media is so much that if you are not careful, your life may just be passing you by, and all you are doing is you are watching videos on YouTube and watching TikTok videos and Instagram posts. But that same time you can use for things that are a lot more beneficial for you. The world is now global, and platforms like LinkedIn are available for you to exploit that global platform that the world is now. You have to be ready to harness those opportunities. Now, I'm going to encourage us along certain issues. The first of those issues is that you have yourself to seek knowledge. Self-learning. You have to be hungry for knowledge and for development. How many of us are currently being affected by the ASU strike in this country? Yeah, quite a few numbers. But if I ask, of those of us who are affected by ASU strike, how many months now? 4 months? 6 months. That's a long time in anybody's life. But what have you done in that period? Have you done any certification courses? Have you done any internships? Have you gone to learn anything at all? Or you are simply in your house waiting for the day that ASU will call off a strike? In Nigeria, we place a lot of emphasis on certificate qualification, but globally, that's not such a big deal anymore. The skills that you have, the competencies that you have, which may not necessarily be the things that your certificate says, are the things that will give you a chance at survival in this global community. It is not justifiable to say that ASU has been on strike for 6 months and you have done nothing in those 6 months. No, it's not justifiable. How many of you have volunteered for anything in that period? Because when you go out and look for scholarships, and those things are also global, I encourage you to do that. I mean, many organizations are doing it. institutions across the world are doing it. The scholarship award community will typically look for what have you done outside of your work or your education. Have you volunteered for anything? You know, those are the things that will give you the opportunity of harnessing the global, platforms that are available now. Many of us are thinking about leaving Nigeria. It's not a bad thing. I think some of us are too old for that. I have no intentions of leaving Nigeria, so I'm praying very fervently that God will turn the country around. I have 2 children outside of this country. One is in Canada, and another one is in the UK. Let me speak to you about my daughter who is in Canada. She's still in school, but she's a child of testimony, and I think it's a testimony that should resonate with all of you. When she was in Nigeria, she would volunteer. She wanted to be a doctor. So when she's on holiday, we would take her to a hospital. They were not paying. She was just going there. She would go and be, interning with them. Now she's in Canada. This girl is actively looking for scholarship schemes anywhere and applying. And I'm proud to say that, especially now that dollar is what it is, when you compare to the naira, more than 50% of the school fees that I'm having to pay on her is scholarships that she goes out and she looks for and she gets. And that means that she's also working hard. But the other great testimony that I have about her is that she's currently in final year to graduate by April of next year. But this girl already has a job with an organization. It's an oil firm in Canada. Opportunities are there. And this organization, when I convert the salary that they are paying this girl, who is not yet a graduate, when I convert it to naira, my people, it's like more than half of my own salary that I'm director. Now, but the reason why I'm sharing this with you is that as you're all aspiring for those kinds of opportunities, first and foremost, know that you don't have to leave the shores of Nigeria to put yourself in a position to harness those opportunities. You just have to make sure that you're spending your time on the right things and not dissipating your efforts and energies and time on things that don't improve you. Recruiters all over the world are going to be looking for the soft skills that you have. I think one of our compares earlier spoke about being bilingual or multilingual. If ASU has been on strike, have you spent your time trying to learn a different language other than English? Because that is the kind of thing that positions you, that gives you an advantage over every other person that may be competing for the same role or opportunity that you are competing for. What are you spending your time on? Ask yourself that question and be convinced that the things that you're spending your time on are things that can benefit you and make you capable of competing in this global community that we're in. And then let me speak about writing skills and speaking skills. The 2 ladies that have been up here, excellent, the delivery. Many of us don't even pay attention to how we come across when we communicate with people. It's extremely important. Your countenance, your composure, your ability to express yourself both verbally and in writing are things that we count for something when you are engaging with the world. And it may be you are engaging with the world in terms of you're looking for a role or you're looking for an opportunity, but pay attention to the things that will show people that you engage with what type of person you are. Your personal brand, extremely important. The way you appear, impression that you create when you interact with people, they're extremely important, and I encourage you to pay attention to it. Like I said, I think we'll do more